Hey everybody, how's it going? So we're just going to be having a kind of a short little bonus stream here today, just because we won't be around for next week because of the holidays. So I figured we'd do a little bit of a bonus stream and then stream at a different time so that some people can who might not be able to make those 1 o'clock times can jump into this 4 o'clock and take a look at the game live and ask some questions. So we already have our first question here from Bly. Bly's asking if players are going to earn some kind of loot for winning quests. That's right, there's a point system that ties into a in-game currency called Valor. Valor can be used to purchase items within the game. Basically, almost everything except for, I believe, cosmetics is purchasable through the use of Valor. So you can earn everything through the game without really having to spend any money. So you can get new cards with that, you can access new quests, a bunch of new items are available only through Valor. So that's one of the easiest ways. Does my mic sound okay, everybody? Let me know if there's any trouble with the audio, and I can get that fixed as soon as possible. I'm getting a little bit of an echo here, so let me know if you're hearing anything. Yeah, but today I think I'm just going to jump through that first quest, so everybody who missed our debut stream can take a look a little bit at the first 3 locations, which we haven't shown on the stream yet other than that. So we can take a look at that using the tutorial deck, and then, who knows, maybe we can do a couple of other bonus stuff afterwards if we have some time. You see, we've got a new mouse in the game here. We've got a little new arrowhead for people to use. We're still playing around with that. Like everything, and like always, everything you see today is going to be a work in progress. So we are still in development, and yeah, you're going to be able to take a look at that, and we're going to show you some stuff, but nothing's final. As we continue to develop the game, you're going to see a bunch of changes, and you'll see some changes even that you've seen from last time. The game's just going to keep on change. Hashtag Daggermouse. Alright, let's jump in. So Passage Through Mirkwood, that's our first quest here. We've got the starter deck all set to go, and we can jump in. Before I started streaming today, I was taking a look at a deck, a Leadership Spirit lore deck that I've been trying to make work with kind of a swarm strategy, but I was having some trouble getting through this first few locations because they're a little bit combat focused, so the more objective based decks are having some trouble with them. Hopefully I'll be able to get it working. Vegicide, how's it going? Ooh, got cut off there on the text. We got to get that fixed. We've got our Mulligan Phase. So again, every card that you see here is going to be available once you get access to the core set, and you get that by completing the tutorial in the game. So everyone's going to get access to this pool of cards just to start out. Alright, so we'll keep gaining strength, we'll keep Warrior Sword, let's keep Self-Preservation too, let's ditch the more expensive allies here. Let's move forward. Well, we'll keep that, thank you. Yep, you'll be buying cards specifically. You'll be buying Valor cards using Valor, and those are kind of they'll round out your pool. But you'll also be able to get hero packs, which have access to a hero card and then some other cards within the pack that are thematically tied or somehow are connected to that hero. Not necessarily by sphere or mechanically, but also thematically. And we'll give you the details of those soon, but you'll be able to basically buy what you want to play with in order to round out your deck. Okay, so first things first, let's draw some cards. Oh, I see somebody's asking about row limits. It's going to be 7 characters in the hero row, and then 9 in Sauron's. So you'll be able to have 7 characters out on your board and 9 out in Sauron's row. That's subject to change, of course, and more importantly, the kind of interferes with how the kind of swarm decks play. You'll see it's a bit of a more unique strategy within the digital space than you'll see in the tabletop, and hopefully we'll be able to show you those later. Valor cards do in fact have spheres. Oh, I just lost some of my windows here. Let me get everything up so that I can make sure everything's playing okay. Okay, good to go. So first thing, we drew some cards here. Let's play Warrior Sword and get it on Gimli because he's going to be attacking. We've got 2 Sentinels on the board, We've got both the Dolgador orcs and the spiders of Mirkwood. Let's take a little bit of a look at Sauron's Row before we progress. So we've got our main objective, Hidden Path. If we click up here, we can take a look and see what that objective is going to be. Make your way through Mirkwood Forest. The only way to do that is by going through the Hidden Path. But before that, we have to deal with these Sentinels, who, Sentinel is a keyword that blocks the objective and other enemies from being attacked. So we have to make sure that we watch that. We have to do a little bit of fighting before we can move forward. What else do we have here? We have a 2-2, the Eastbite Patrol. These guys have an Orc subtype. And then, of course, the Elite Dolgador Orcs, who are vigilant and have 3 attack and 5 health, so these guys are kind of beefy. Then we've got the Block Path, which is another objective that we're going to have to clear. Alright. Let's see what we can get done. We'll gain some strength, no reason not to. That ups our resource by 1. You can see our threat level up at the top here. We start out at 30 threat with this deck. Sauron is currently out of resources. Use them all to play out the spiders of Mirkwood. We could sneak attack. No time like the present. I'm a little worried about playing the horseback archer because I think it's going to get eaten by one of these sentinels or even by the Dolgador orcs before we can activate it. So what I'm going to do is play a round shield and put it on Arwen to defend her, because sometimes, since these Dolgador orcs are vigilant, they're going to get 2 attacks in. Sometimes they can go right towards the, they can beeline right towards Arwen, and it can be hard to defend her because she only has 9 health. Let's see what we can do here. Let's attack the spider. See Gimli's attack buffs because of his ability and his stalwart. We have an activity tracker, so we can take a look and see what happened there. So we can see that the elite orcs attacked Arwen. All of these graphics are subject to change, but we do have the functionality in now. Okay. We'll end the phase there. Hey, for people asking, we do in fact have help text for keywords. Currently we have a glossary, which I could pull up for you in a second here. And you can take a look at that, but there's going to be a hover over implemented in the future. That's something we want to make sure we get done during early access. Gimli. We'll heal him up there. Let's put self-preservation on. We'll put it on him because he seems to be taking a lot of damage doing a lot of the fighting here. And we'll advance warning because Sauron's sitting on 3 resources. I think he's getting ready to play a big enemy here. I want to be prepared for when that comes out into play. We'll end the phase there. Yeah, Taru, threat currently functions basically as a timer, but there are other mechanical implementations for it. So basically there are other things that threat is going to affect on the board, but we're not quite ready to talk about how that's going to work mechanically. And the threat within the core set is basically going to work mostly as a timer, but there will be other things. For now, we just kind of want to focus on making sure that these basics get hammered out, and we can show these to you. We'll have Gimli take down the elite orcs here. And we can clear this objective next. We're at 31 threat here, so we're doing okay in this beginning. And Arwen's going to heal up Gimli. We'll use the caregiver to also heal up. We'll send it at Arwen this time. Get her up to 7. Defend her a little bit. We could sneak attack again, but with no enemies in play, if we get a really powerful enemy, then it's kind of a waste of the card. Man, 6 resources. What could Sauron be waiting to do here? There's a couple uniques within this first encounter that can come up in the encounter deck. I'm a little bit worried that we're going to see that next round, but if he's just sitting on things, I wonder what's happening. Yeah, 9 resources. We'll heal up Gimli. And we'll gain some more strength just because there's no reason not to. Now we have enough for Gandalf, so if something big does come down, we might be able to deal with it. On the other hand, this is a good turn. Like, this is a good window to play a ranged 2-2, which usually is pretty vulnerable to the board. Ranged is a keyword that means that if it attacks an enemy that's exhausted, it doesn't receive reciprocal damage. But the problem is, because it's only a 2-2, it doesn't survive a lot of first attacks. So since we've got an empty board, I'm going to play him out here. And then we'll just move towards the objective.
I serve no man.
Here we go. And here we go.
Giant spiders have
And we're moving on to the second location.
You watch
Let's
in
see what we
horror
got.
as your friend is bound in webbed cords to be dragged away and devoured. You cannot abandon your companion to such a fate.
Alright, let's see what happens. We've got the flies, we've got the king spider, and we've got a second king spider here. He bounds up Gimli there. We'll heal up Aragorn. Taru, I did play the physical LCG. I played quite a few Fantasy Flight games before working on the digital game. Mostly I played LOTOR casually and out of the core set, but I did play quite a bit of it. I am a big fan of card games in all their forms and iterations. We'll play out the Warden here, who's one of my favorite allies, a 4-cost 2/2/4. Well, it looks like Sauron was just waiting to swarm the board on this second location here. With that first one he wanted to, he kind of saw the writing on the wall and decided to save it up for a beefier board here. Let's see what we got here. This could be a good turn to sneak attack. The problem is I want to get Gimli freed as quick as possible. And with no Sentinels, we could rush towards the objective. So I think just sheer numbers are probably going to be our best bet.
My eyes see everything.
Okay. Ithilien Lookout. So as you can see, sneak attack does not pull from your deck. It pulls from random allies. It can be anything. So we're not even if we weren't playing a lore hero, we would potentially pull this Ithilien Lookout. I think the last 2 times I've played sneak attack on stream, I got the dwarf axe hand. But as you can see, it pulls randomly, so. And he immediately goes down. That's fine. He absorbed an attack from the elites. We're just gonna race to free Gimli. Okay. We'll get Gimli off the board here. Now, here's the deal. These Orc Hounds have pursuit, so we have to clear them off the board before we travel, or else they're going to follow us to the next location. Yeah, Nop, if sneak attack could potentially pull a spirit ally, even though there's no spirit heroes. It could even pull Gandalf, who's in neutral. Like I said, it pulls from a random pool, which is something cool that we can do with digital space that we definitely could not do with physical. You know, you'd have to have the cards there set aside. You could potentially pull from an entire random pool of every LOTOR card, but you'd have to have that whole collection sitting there, and you would have to be able to pull it out randomly. It would be a huge hassle, but because we've got basically a digital rules lawyer sitting within this game, we don't really have to worry about that as much, which is kind of cool. So we have to take down this Orc Hound. All our orcs will gain pursuit if we don't. So then we don't have to worry about the Dol Guldur orcs who are currently exhausted. The flies are going to add to our threat, but that's about it. So we'll just take down the Hound here. Because of Arwen's shield, she didn't take damage from that attack from the flies, and we're ready to travel. Gimli's looking a little worse for the rare with only 3 health on there. Let's see what we can get. We'll I think I turned and fled, if you will. So I think we're gonna stand and fight this time. I think that was last time that we turned and fled.
You have rescued your friend, but the creatures of Mirkwood.
So because of this branching path, there are different objectives that we can jump to.
Realizing that you cannot
This one's going to see an entirely different scenario than if we were to have turned and fled. When we stand and fight, then we have an entirely new board and an entirely new objective to deal with here. So that kind of gives some interesting depth to it, and allows makes the story belong to you as the player. So we got 2 Orc Hounds, a Dol Guldur Orc, and we have our objective here. What's this? Watchful Scout. Oh, let's heal up with Arwen. We'll heal Aragorn, who is currently only at 1 health. Put him up to 2. Hopefully he survives this. 5/5 Vigilant Orc. Great. Part of me wants to put self-preservation on Aragorn, but part of me kind of just says that he's going to die, and there's really not a lot we can do about it. But, I'm not sure here. Bylayer, we haven't talked about other platforms yet. We just announced PC and Mac through Steam. Yeah, I almost don't even want to bother with Aragorn knowing that he's going to die. A little defeatist, I know, but we could get this self-preservation on Arwen. I think we'll do that. Next turn we'll have enough to play Gandalf because we'll get our standard 3 resources. That isn't tied into how many heroes you have. That's everybody gets 3, so you'll be able to, you don't have to worry about that. That's kind of a difference between this and the tabletop as well. We'll have him take down an orc hound here. It's not worth sacrificing him to save Aragorn. He goes down. Aragorn might actually survive here. Wow. Yeah, heroes seem a little bit more disposable, but the problem is that because you're moving through these campaigns and from location to location, and these board states stay static from the first one to the last, the sooner that you start losing those heroes, the worse off you're going to be. We're not going to progress past to the 4th location on today's stream, but you know, if we were, losing Gimli would be a pretty big hit, especially knowing that eventually we're going to have to face a boss. Going into there with only basically, I mean, if you take out the allies, basically 3 power on the board is not great. Gimli's such a powerhouse that it's kind of hard to fight without him if you build your deck around his tactics sphere. So we'll have the archer will finish off the hound because like it has pursuit, so we wouldn't be able to move without it. And I'm actually going to spend the resource to ready up Aragorn, basically because I want to show you what happens when you complete this objective. You get a new ally. Because we've rescued this Elven Scout, the Scout decides to join our party. You see, it's a pretty powerful card. We've given it an identity, and it technically has a cost of 0, but there's no way to really play it in your deck. Instead, this is a special card that joins you on the scenario. So, the Elven Scout is a 0 cost, 3 attack, 0 willpower, 6 defense, but it's also got the ranged keyword. So you get this really powerful card in exchange for choosing this path on the campaign. If you were to take the other path, for those of us who were watching last Tuesday, you'd see that there's that board is a little bit easier to get through, but you don't get this kind of reward for doing it in the end. So it's a lot of trade-offs, and if you're going into it blind for the first time, obviously you wouldn't know about that. Everybody here has a leg up because they've seen this part of the gameplay, so they'll know which path they prefer to go to based on their scenario. But, you know, you can always roleplay as well. Decide what your heroes would do. I like to, if I've lost a hero already or they're low on health, a lot of the time I'll decide to turn and flee because, you know, that's probably what they would do in that scenario. So normally we'd hit the travel and we'd move on, but we're just going to jump out for this because I wanted to show you those first three locations. We can jump into the glossary real quick and you can take a look at see what we've got in there currently. So basically right now this is just a dictionary of in-game terms. You know, there's not a lot of flash to it, but in the future that's going to be updated, so that'll be something the players can access. It'll be easier to find what you're looking for, and then those are going to translate into the hover over feature that's going to be on cards, so that when you look at cards with keywords, you'll always know what those keywords correspond to within the game. It's part of making the game just a little bit easier, you know, incorporating that rule book. It's so you're not holding a rule book in one hand and the game in the other. Everything's built into the system, so that can be useful. I see some people saw some extra features within that glossary that we haven't talked about yet, but we will be talking about things like that in the future. So, okay, well, that is all I had planned for content today. However, we still have a little bit of time here. It's only about 4:25 right now by my watch, so I'm thinking that we could do a little bit more if everybody's interested in that. I assume people want more content. I don't mind jumping in. You know, it's Thursday afternoon before holiday, so you know, we can do a little bit more. We can do a little bit more before we have to go. Feeling pretty good. Wednesday, excuse me. It feels like a Thursday. Let's jump into the second quest here. Do you guys want to see that deck that I was talking about, that I was playing around before I started streaming? I can show you that. I have the deck that I played yesterday on stream too. If people missed that, we could do that. Yeah, Maui, congrats on it being Thursday already. You're one day ahead of us here. Let's do that then. Let's jump in and take a look at this ally-based deck that I've been playing. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get through the quest with this because I was having some trouble earlier, but I don't know. I mean, I managed to pull it out yesterday with Frodo, so we'll see what happens here. Guys, if you missed the announcement on Twitter or Facebook, actually I don't think we brought it up on Facebook yet, but if you missed the announcement on Twitter, we have a very special guest coming in tomorrow. The developer Caleb Grace is going to be with us. He's going to be taking all your questions about translating the game from the physical to the digital space. I'm going to be asking him a couple of things about this game and what he thinks some of the strengths of developing for digital are, some of the things he's most excited for, and we're going to just talk about the general direction of the game and how we plan to make it develop in the future. So I'm really excited to have him on stream. Hopefully you guys are as well. That's going to be 1 p.m. here on Fantasy Flight Interactive's Twitch channel. 1 p.m. Central. So, yeah, come join us for that. It's going to be a nice long stream. We're going to take him through some stuff. We might even show you some things we have not shown before. We might jump into some exclusive content there just because we have Caleb. But we're very excited for that, and I hope you are too. So you can kind of see what's going on with this deck. This deck kind of takes advantage of some of the cheaper spells, cheaper events, and cheaper allies. And the plan is to use those to gain a pretty big advantage, snowball, and then just carry that throughout the entire quest. That stream's going to be at 1 p.m. tomorrow, just so everyone's aware. We'll keep Aragorn around. We probably should have saved... Oh, there we go. Probably should save some resources here so that we can activate him again. Gain some strength. There's another one of the cheap allies. This was actually kind of the thought behind the deck. After we were getting so much advantage from the Wandering Took last game, I was kind of thinking, how can we take advantage of these other cheap allies within the leadership sphere? So that's the thought process behind this deck. So I think we're just gonna spill our hand, and then next turn we'll reload with Mithranders, put another bullet in the chamber, and then move forward. And the phase. They actually don't have any willpower, funny enough, so we're gonna have to do a second activation of Aragorn in order to clear this. But we do clear it in one move there, using Aragorn's ability. And Sauron's sitting at 3 resources, and we're at 26 threat, and we get to travel within the first turn of the game. Maybe this deck isn't that bad for this location, actually. I was actually trying it on the first quest, which is a little bit more combat focused, so that's why I was having trouble. This one you have a couple locations before it really gets deep into combat. So we'll see how this goes. Hive Guardian comes into play. A Hatchling Spider. Okay, speaking of, there's some combat focus for you. No attachments on our heroes. Vicious Speed to give him Vigilance. And a Cursed Forest, which discards the top 3 cards from our deck on upkeep. So we're going to have to clear that. Let's see what we can do here. Mithrander's Advice to reload. Here's another reason why these spirit decks are so powerful. Secret Path is going to allow us to apply 2 progress to the objective and basically get a free activation, hopefully to clear out a Cursed Forest here. Let's sneak attack and see what we get.
I am a servant of the secret fire.
Okay, well, there's that. Oh boy, I was not expecting that. I'm trying to think of what we could do that would be best. We could draw 3, you know, and just get our hand up and filled again, which would probably be pretty powerful. That's probably the most conservative play. We could reduce our threat, which we don't really have to do right now. We could deal 3 to clear off that 1 spider, because we had that 1/3, the Hatchling. I think what I'm gonna do here is draw my cards. Yeah, this is the classic core set combo a la mode, as most people will identify. And actually, we drew our second Secret Path, so if we still had another resource, we could play both of these and progress without interacting on the board at all, which is also a pretty powerful combo. But unfortunately, we can't, so we will not. I think I'm going to try to send Gandalf after the spider. Secret paths here, have the Took finish it off, and then use my Aragorn activation to rescue my friends. And that'll leave this at 2. That'll leave a hatchling spider on the board, and we'll be able to move forward. The guards of the Citadel are really powerful here because they're just... Sentinel in general is really good against counter, because counter gets +1 attack. Well, because it's counter 1, it gets +1 attack when it's attacked. But when it attacks, it stays as a 1/4. So because of the Sentinel, they'll have to attack those allies before they can attack our heroes. So it kind of baits them into moving forward and gives us an advantage. We've got 1 resource left over. Let's save it. Oh no, we have to secret paths. That's right. Well, we can do that during the adventuring phase, so we'll do that.
Go back.
Gandalf clears out the spiders. Other one goes after the guard of the Citadel, putting him down to a 1/1. Secret paths to put 2 progress on this objective. Have the Took clear it. Have Aragorn move forward. And we could attack with the Sentinel here. Let's do it. And end the phase. Bye, Gandalf. Thanks for the help. We did kind of get to live the dream with sneak attack there. Low on supplies comes out. Every time we play a card, our threat increases by 1. So this would not be the occasion to play gaining strength. This hatchling spider, every time it attacks, it'll increase threat by 1. We're at 28 currently, which is super low for the first phases of the game, which is okay by me. So I'm not going to play anything because I don't want our threat to increase, and we're in an okay position to just move forward here by activating Aragorn. And we get our heroes back. And right before we leave, of course, the Goblin Sniper has to take down my Sentinel, but that's alright. We'll get out of here with 30 threat.
The last of your companions has been
So here we are in the 3rd location with 30 threat. This deck's actually doing pretty well.
They spin giant webs from tree to tree, trapping you in their den. You will have to cut your way.
Okay, and we are ready to move forward. Full grip going into this next location. Sentinel enemy, we draw another Took. Forest Spider comes into play. Don't think we need to draw cards here, though normally that would be what I would do. Instead, we'll gain some strength to go up to 7 resources, which is more than enough to clear off the board. I'm actually going to save Gandalf for the boss location here. We'll see what we can do. We'll advance warning. Play out the Wandering Took.
Where are we going next?
And end the phase there. Spider goes after the Took.
I serve no man.
Aragorn will go after the spider.
For Rivendell!
And Arwen will finish it off.
The Shire! I will go alone.
I assure you that I was using grip in the most metaphorical sense of the word. I was not directly referencing Netrunner there. But that's funny that you guys caught that.
I serve no man.
We'll have Aragorn move towards the objective again with this extra activation since we have the resources to spare. We don't have another activation from a one willpower character. Normally we could secret pass and then just activate that character to move forward, but I don't think we need to. Instead, we'll just Mithrander's Advice. Draw some more cards. And end the phase there. We've got an ally to play this next round here. 2, actually, from this Horseback Archer. Unfortunately, with this this 2-power enemy, I kind of don't want to play one out because I think it might just die. It's a little bit more valuable than that. I could buff the willpower. I'm going to buff the willpower of Frodo, actually, which is a little bit greedy. But we can put him up to 5, so if he encounters another large objective, he can just take it down on his own. He'll finish down this objective, and we can move forward. And we're at 32 threat going into the last location.
The spider's webs, when an enormous queen spider appears and blocks your path. Her many, offspring gather behind you. There is no turning back. You must defeat the giant Cider.
Okay. And we move into the boss. So this is where we're going to have a little bit of a problem because we have 4 total power on the board. Going up against the enemy whose stats are going to go up once we jump in. And we don't have any allies currently. We do have plenty of resources, an advance warning that'll take down that Sentinel to exhaust it. And enough to start playing some folks out here. So we'll play the Lookout, and we'll play Gandalf to get 3 damage on the spawn. You're going to see it go up and then down real quick, back down to 12. The Ungoliant spawn actually comes in with 15 health, because of a bug right now. That's how it's displaying. Okay. Gandalf goes after the Sentinel enemy here. Have Aragorn come after him too. And then the Lookout will finish him off. We will go after the Sentinel there to exhaust it. We could have Frodo finish it. Well, it would only deal 1, but I think for now we can just let Gandalf leave play and then move on to the next round. Got Watchful Peace to lower our threat even more if we need to. Currently at 34, so we're set, but our Ungoliant spawn has threatening now. Self-preservation, we'll put that on Arwen because she's starting to take a little bit of damage. And that'll be our turn since the Secret Pass has no objective to apply to. So that's one of the problem with putting these kinds of cards in your deck, is that sometimes you will not be able to use them. Actually, after that excellent opening round, it looks like we're done.
Into the west.
We'll exhaust the enemy, but yeah, I don't think we're gonna be able to win this one. Those 2 2/8s. Yeah, the sniper just took out Aragorn. I got a little bit too arrogant in those first rounds. I really thought we were going to be okay, but it looks like unless Frodo can pull something out, we'll lose here. End the phase. The spawn there. Now, here's an interesting interaction. This 0-2 will still exhaust this enemy if we attack. Yeah, Valentrue, we're doing just kind of a short bonus. Well, we were live, now we are dead. We were doing a short bonus stream here because we're not going to be live Tuesday or Thursday of next week, so we just decided to do a little bit of extra gameplay. So that deck ran pretty well in the opening rounds, but it just couldn't deal with the boss at the end there. That all being said, I think that it might be a good option for some of the less combat-oriented quests that we'll see in the future. So, for the most part, what we were doing was basically getting really quickly through those first few objectives, and what I've often found in this game is that can feel really good, and it can feel often like, you know, you're on top of the world, you're all set to go, you're not going to run into many issues. But if you don't spend your early turns getting ready for the late game, you're going to get completely rolled over once the bigger enemies start entering the board. These aggressive decks need to have some kind of plan for the long game, whether or not it's, you know, having strong action economy with Aragorn, having Arwen to mitigate some of that damage and get you back on top, or having Gimli to take out enemies on his own. That's up to you, you know. But if you're going to be playing these more willpower-focused decks or ally decks, you have to have some plan for once the game starts to go long. Once you get too long in the tooth, you can start losing. So, anyway, thank you for joining us. We got to take a look at a couple of extra stuff today. We took a look at the core set. We looked at some of those first locations, and we even took a bonus look at that second quest that we've seen before, but with a new deck and kind of in a new light, with seeing how some of the other strategies interact with it. So thanks again for joining us. Like I said earlier, tomorrow at 1 p.m. Central, we are going to have Caleb Grace, developer on the Lord of the Rings, the card game, here to talk about the Lord of the Rings, the living card game, our digital version of that LCG. He's going to be talking a little bit about translating the game from physical to digital, and we're going to be going over some stuff here. Maybe we'll get some insight into his favorite strategy, some of the things he's been working on as a developer, and what he really thinks the digital game is going to shape up to being once it's in full release, and how we're going to be handling future content schedules. Thanks for joining us. As always, you can find us on Twitter at FFI_games, Facebook.com/FFI games, here on Twitch TV/FFI games. We are there on everything. You can come hang out with us. If you have any questions, any comments, concerns, things that you like to see in the game, feature requests, let us know over on the Steam community forums. That's the best place to take a look for that. As we watch those, we watch social medias. You know, you can get in contact with us. Let us know, reach out, let us know what you're thinking about the game, where you're at, and what you'd like to see in the future. So yeah, thanks again, everyone. Have a good day, and we will see you tomorrow, bright and early.